We're back.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the Cavalry.
Coming at you from the Cavalry headquarters.
Headquarters is... What would you call Cavalry headquarters? Madison or Portland?
The internet. I would call it Zoom.
Zoom.com. For tax purposes, let's go with Madison. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Sure. Good. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I had a fun week. I was in Phoenix, Arizona. It's hot.
The windy city.
The hot, windy city.
Yes.
And,
how was that?
It was good. I gotta tell. So a lot of this I have to say in post-show banner, but sensitive. So I'll give you a few little teasers for people who don't subscribe to the Patreon and maybe have been on the fence before. First show I've ever done where first of all, they were all fun shows. Let me start there. They were all like hot, great crowds, mostly sold out. The show Saturday night, first show I've ever done that started with the national anthem. They unironically had a guy come out and sing the national anthem.
What was the venue for this? Because I wonder if I've done this.
You must have done it. It was at a church, but like a mega church, and it wasn't. So it had 500 people in the crowd that weren't church affiliated. It just he rents that space,
Oh, okay.
It's convenient to do.
Yeah.
So the church has nothing to do with the show. It's just that I don't know if he has a relationship with them or not. But then
a good space.
That's the small room too. He rents the small room. Their real room, their real sanctuary seats like 3,000 or something. But they literally.
You had 500 people there?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and but they sang the national anthem to open the show. And I stayed and I kept his guy named Randy. He's a great guy, a very sweet guy. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got you set up at the comedy condo. So and we got you a loaner vehicle, and you'll be able to drive around, no problem." But then I get to the comedy condo, it's just his house. That's the thing. You can't call it the comedy condo if you live there. That's your house.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right.
So I got you all set up over here. Like, you have a guest room. That's great. And I appreciate it. But that's different than a comedy condo.
Yeah. I got you set up at the comedy condo. You mind if I crash with you? Because I pay the rent there and all my stuff's there.
But that's so then it goes from there, and I will give more incredible details in the post-show banner. But it's a fun, overall fun weekend. I'm happy to be back. But
how many shows?
Shows were great. That's the thing. These crowds, a lot of people, make fun of these guys. Someone who would seek out clean comedy, but they are very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Yep. But it was the most, because I do all sorts of shows. You do all sorts of shows where you have to be clean or whatever. But it was the most like
clean you have to be
I've ever dealt with. I was like, I'm pretty sure like I've never had rules like this. Like, I have a joke where I say the ball, like this would take balls, like in that not balls like in reference like, oh, my big hairy balls smell like,
but like balls, like he's got balls to do that.
Like balls in their face or something. I said like to have the chutzpah or something, the balls to suggest. And he made me, he's like, oh, just remember, you can't say that. You gotta say guts. Like, just remember. And he like checked with me like 6 times. You're gonna say guts, right? Remember. Guts. You're gonna say guts.
But did he have your act memorized, or how did he know that was coming?
He watched me
or did you ask?
On the Thursday, which wasn't his show.
Oh.
It was a Jason Love show.
Yes,
and I did that joke, and he goes, okay, so just a couple things. And I was like, I know. Because I did a few jokes there that I was like, I know I'm not going to do it. But he said that one. I was like, you know what? I was ready to be defensive Randy and be a know-it-all, but I would not have thought that I couldn't say the balls.
Yeah.
The big church gig.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I feel like I had a similar experience. I remember, but I don't remember what the jokes were. But I do remember him giving me
He,
feedback based off of another show. But I felt like that with the dry bar. I felt like I was that cautious, like things where you're like, oh my god, he was like,
yeah,
don't say
that's
that,
it.
don't say that.
Because there's a great comic named Karen Runtowski, who's like, I
Mm,
guess it's like she says God, like, oh my God, God, oh my God, you know, and you don't think of that as a like,
right.
especially in LA or something, you're not thinking of that as a slur or a curse, you know.
Yeah.
But some people get riled up about that. So
Oh, so
we
did you?
survived. I
Nice.
don't think I offended anybody.
Um, so I wanted to ask you about this because I or bring this up as a discussion. So I was at the St. Louis Funny Bone
Oh,
all
right, right,
weekend.
right.
Went great. Did morning TV they sprung on me Thursday night. And Ron from
Oh
St.
yeah,
Louis. And you
my
know
buddy
him.
Ron.
Yeah, your buddy. And so we're in the lobby or the waiting room to go on the radio. And he's talking about, I was telling about the podcast, or you came up and he's like, oh, yeah, yeah, Andrew. And yeah, we got his handkerchief. We got it framed. He calls his wife on FaceTime and makes her talk to me and makes her walk over and like, show him the framed thing. Shows
Yeah,
us your handkerchief framed in their
yeah.
house.
And
It's
they
great.
sent me that on Instagram, and I posted. I was like, "This is what I expect from you. This is the new.
Yeah.
You can't just buy the merch. If you're gonna buy the merch, you have to promise me you're going to frame it and put it up next to your children and loved ones
Yeah.
on the mantle."
It's like a concert tour poster. You gotta frame that stuff and put it up.
No, they were so nice. Ron took me to the con, and his wife both work for the club and the
Hmm.
clubs, and he took me to the
Yeah.
comedy condo, and that comedy condo was
In St.
unoccupied.
Louis?
This was the other one, the Westport.
No,
What's the
St.
other club?
Charles.
St. Charles Club. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You
Because
did
they
that one
put you
or
in a
no?
hotel for the other one, right? For Westport.
Yeah, I was in the hotel. They switched the hotel, by the way. I showed up at midnight on Wednesday night, and they're like, "We don't have you here." And I just went to the old hotel I've always gone to, and I was like, "Oh, thank God I had Matt's cell number." So I
Yeah.
call him, or I texted him, and he was like, "Oh, it's the Sheridan, connected to the club." And I was like, "Oh, thank God."
Oh, that sounds nicer actually.
Yeah, it is
And you're
nicer.
right there because that walk,
Yeah.
there's not much on that walk from the old hotel to the.
Oh, I always drove from the old
Oh yeah,
hotel.
well you had a car.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, great. And the shows were fun.
The shows were a blast. So I don't know if I think I texted you this. I went to Penn Station subs 4 times. The
I know
first,
you said Penn Station, like that's something I should know about. Like, is that a chain in the
I
Midwest, or
mean,
is
it's
that
a
just a
chain.
St.
It's a
Louis
chain. It's
thing?
called East Coast Subs, but it's just a sub shop like Firehouse Subs or whatever. But it's
Yeah.
only, I don't know, it's not where I live, so I only get it when I'm on the road. And they have a pizza sub that has like ham, pepperoni, cheese, and it's so good. I took a picture of it. I'll send you.
Oh,
Anyway,
good. Yeah. Please send me
so
that pic. I want to get it framed. Can you sign it? And
yeah, I'll print it, sign it.
yeah.
Anyway, so I get it Thursday. I get it for lunch. I was so excited to have it. It was so good. And then Thursday after the show, I was like, ooh, I think it's still open because there's just one show. So I was like, oh, and I saw that it closes at 10. So I tried to call. It's like 9:40. I call to have them make the sandwich. No one answers. I was like, oh, they're not answering because it's almost closing
Bad.
time. I know that, I've
I
worked
know that
in
game.
I worked at Pizza Hut, and I remember when people would come in at 2 till. I go in, I was like, I gotta have it. I go in, they're cleaning up, and this guy was pissed, and it was the same guy. And I was like, "Oh, are you guys still open?" And he looks at me, he's like, "Yeah." And I should have just been like, you know what? I don't want to ruin, but I was like, "Can I get one pizza sub? No onions, no mushrooms." And he was like, yeah, and he was just not hiding it at all. He was so pissed. And then the next day, This is my second day there, third time at the place. I go there for lunch the next day, and I don't know if it was the third or fourth time that they didn't ask my name at
Or your
all. They just
order.
gave me the. Yeah, he didn't. He stopped it. They don't ask me if I want the mushrooms or onions because they always ask if you want mushrooms, onions. He just knew I didn't want it, and he put my name, and then they bring it out to me, and my name's already on the receipt. I was like, oh God, this is embarrassing. I've been here 2 days and I'm a regular.
How many times did you eat there
4.
in the span of a weekend?
I was there Wednesday through Sunday night, but I ate there 4 times in the span of 3 days because I ate the rest of my meals I ate at Panera, which you're not supposed to call Panera when you're there. It's St. Louis Bread Company.
St. Louis Bread Company. The you don't do you get sick? Like you don't get sick of it? Because I don't think I've ever. I'm just trying to think if I've ever gone to a restaurant for lunch
Not frequently.
and then gone back for dinner. I don't know that I've ever done that to the same exact restaurant.
I mean, sadly that's not the only time I've pulled that off.
All right, I gotta try this pizza sub, I guess.
It's good. The bread is so good. It's like fresh bread, and it's just so good. I can't. I don't know what to tell you.
It's just so funny. Did the guy closing up that night who was annoyed you came in, do you think he recognized you from before?
I know he saw me, 6 hours
So he
ago.
must have just been like, is this asshole just fucking with me? Is he just trying to ruin my life? He clearly doesn't really want this again.
He found out I
He
do.
found out you did. Did you eat it in the restaurant? Just staring
No,
at
no,
him?
no. That's the only one I took to go. All the other ones I ate there.
I remember being in the hotel, and this it's awkward because, like you said, the shows end and nothing's open. Even on Thursday, like you barely made it to the And I ordered pizza one night, and I did that St. Louis style pizza because like, oh, I'm in St. Louis. That is the worst shit I've ever had. That is
I don't know what that means.
It's just like cracker pizza. It's like pizza on a cracker.
Like super thin and crispy. Is that what you mean?
Kind of, but it's not like dough. It's like it just here. I'm gonna look it up just to confirm that I know what I'm talking. But I just remember thinking like, well, that's one I can cross off the list as far as like the pizza wars or whatever. Because people always complain about like deep dish pizza, like Chicago style.
Yeah.
And I like it.
You like what? Chicago style?
Yeah. I mean, it's gloppy and huge and like disgusting, but it's like kind of great, Yeah, it's like the crust is almost as if they put it on like a Ritz cracker.
Oh, that's stupid. That's not pizza.
A thin cracker-like crust made without yeast. That must be what it is.
So it's like a communion wafer with
pizza.
I
don't know. You can't see. I probably, but
oh yeah, that's what's it called? So how many different styles? There's Chicago style,
Detroit style, which is the pan, like the square pan.
Yeah, and they cut it like rectangles.
Yeah, and then the New York like thin crust. That's probably the best, where it's just like big floppy, cheesy.
That's not. I wouldn't say that's thin crust. It's
it's like not. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's my favorite. New York.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
And then last place is this whatever shit they make in Italy. But everything else.
Yeah.
No, that is actually pretty good. The St. Louis style is last place. I'm going to be clear about that. It is the worst shit I've ever had in my life. And I ate the whole thing and just felt horrible the next day. But good job. Successful weekend. Did you see Matt there in St. Louis?
Matt, the booker?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was there every night.
He's there every night?
Yeah. I felt bad because one of the shows, I think it was the late show Saturday. It was the late show Saturday. All the shows been going great. Late show Saturday was significantly lighter than the early show Saturday, I believe. And and it was late. We put on, we let two people do guest sets, and they're each doing like 11, 12 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is a long show, and it's late. It's a 9. They start late, whatever. So I'm supposed to be doing 45 every show. I'm getting a 5-minute light. I get the light at like 31 minutes. And it was clearly a light. Like it was like, when
Yeah.
someone holds up their phone like this and it's like just a blank bright screen. So
Right.
it's like, oh, okay. So I was like, that's the light. And I was like, oh, okay, look at my thing. And I'm like, oh, all right. They probably just want us to wrap up early, because they're
Yeah.
like, man, whatever. Why they got the full show. So like, okay, I check with the audience. I was like, oh, you guys get your check just to make sure I'm not screwing over the waitresses. And they were like, yep. So I did, 5 more minutes, got off at about 36 minutes, and then as I'm walking out to sell to the merch booth, I passed the timer guy and I was like, hey, we, end early and he goes, you got off 10 minutes early. And I was like, what? And I was like, no, I got the light. All right, I'm gonna go sell, whatever. And I told Matt real quick, and he
Yeah.
was like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. And it turns out, just like that show, randomly, one of the waitresses gave me, I think it was what's her name? The one that's been there for a
Oh,
very long
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Um there's three
I'm
names.
saying that like I remember. I don't, I'm just trying to pretend like I would know, but I don't.
Judy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Judy.
so she was like, "Oh yeah, I just yeah, I gave you the light just to let you know that we were done so you can finish your show without worrying about us." And I was like, "Oh, okay, but like what? You had not done that any of the previous shows. We never discussed this. What, like,
You know what that
just an
was?
unspoken.
That's someone who's
What?
been working that club for a long time who was ready to go
Wants to go
home.
home?" Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just gave you this indication that you had 5 minutes left, even though it was a lie, because I figured you should just think that you only had 5 minutes left. So that's all that was. I know there's
No
no way for you
problem.
to verify while you're performing, so I just thought, why don't I go ahead and tell them, and then you can just decide
Yeah.
whether you blow through a light or. That's
Right.
hilarious. She sabotaged
So
you.
I wrap up at 36, and then the MC's not even in the room. And I'm like, oh, I'm like
Yeah,
about to, make a joke or whatever. And here comes the feature running on stage. I was like, oh,
that's the
okay. So he
worst
wraps up the
feeling.
show.
Because
And
like
then the
when you
host just like so scared.
go
But
short, even if you've done 6 shows in a row where you did your time, anytime you go short, the implication is that you didn't have the time. Like
right.
that's what you think other people are thinking. Like, oh God, he went
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
Like it is. If you go long, it's equally a problem sometimes to the show and to the. But at least it's like, oh, you were too strong. Oh, you threw the ball too far. That's like the
Yeah.
error. Because I did when I did Comedy Works, I told them I wanted to do an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'd never done a show there before, and I got a light, and I was like, oh man, okay, and I started wrapping up, and I even went a little longer than I was like, oh shit, I gotta hurry through this last joke, so some things happened, and then it got
Yeah.
off like, oh, you got off like 15 minutes early because I didn't it wasn't the whatever the light was, it was
Oh, it
it was
was,
your
oh,
situation, it was like something else.
yeah.
So I was like, as much as you explain, and it was fine. It didn't, nobody cared really, but it's like you said, the checks were already out and all that. But it, you're like, that was it. They're just forever. And that was my first time there. So it's like forever. The implication is like, he didn't have the time.
He
Mr.
put,
Headliner
yeah.
couldn't, you know, it's very
Oh man.
frustrating.
That happened to someone, but this was like a sabotage at the Boston Comedy Festival. I was at this was a long, long time ago, but it was someone we both know. I can't think of who it was, but someone else gave the light, like went over behind the person that gives the light and shines it with gave them the light
No
with their
shit.
phone. They, just fucked them, they're out. Their set was like two and a
Yeah.
half minutes instead of
Yeah.
7 or whatever. And you're just like, I don't know what happened. I got off stage and everyone was like, what the hell? Why'd you come on so quick? He's like, I got the light. He's like, no.
Whoa. Who did the set? You
And
don't
it's
know
just,
who did sabotaged him? Does
no, I don't know.
Oh, we
But it
gotta
was
get to
like,
the
it was someone. Yeah.
we gotta get to the bottom of this. That is diabolical.
Because you can't, I mean, it's not fair, but what are they going to be like? Hey, everyone, someone cheated. We're going to let, Andy come out and do more time so that he has a fair. It's like,
Well,
no, it's,
you've
that's
got to kick out the person who did the light. That's the first thing you do. They have to be like out of the contest, right?
they don't know who it was.
No one knows
Nobody
to
knows.
this day. Nobody
Just went.
knows.
It was probably a comic. The comic went, gave him the light, and then just went backstage again.
Wow, but nobody. Oh man, there should be
Because you
like
can't see. When you're on stage, you can't like
I
see.
gotta know who this was. The guts.
I should look it up. I'll look it up. I'll look up in my journal who.
Yeah,
I gotta find out when that was, but I'll
because
try to
the
find out, 'cause I
person
know
that
it.
happened to must have a theory. They must have some suspects. Who had the motive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This was round 1.
that's pretty. See, that's why I think it had to be somebody who just didn't like the person because, uh, if it's round 1, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Unless you were doing it to everybody, it doesn't really help
Yeah.
you that much. Just sabotage one person.
Yeah. I wonder if it was. Do you know John Garrett lives in New York?
No.
I think he lived with Keith Alberstadt for a while. I wonder if it
Mm.
was him. He's like one of those guys that's like, just the nicest guy ever. I was like, oh, well, whatever. No, it's
Well,
whatever.
he's made
Like,
some enemies.
yeah,
What?
I guess so.
What? Yeah, let's have him on the pod.
I think it was him.
Let's
Okay.
do an interview.
Oh, that was when I drove, I think, I don't know, 12 or 16 hours to Boston
Oh my god.
for that. And then, didn't advance. And I was just like, you know what?
And just
I'm
drove
going
home.
home. And I drove home. And
I've
oh my God.
Those are
That
the
was bad.
saddest drives I've done because I've never done one like that. 12 or 16 hours. That is a sad drive. I've only done it
Yes.
from Vegas. I did the World Series in Vegas and didn't move on, and I just drove straight back to LA the same day, there and back.
Yep.
And then I did that in did like a shittier version of the World Series, like in Winnemucca or something, I think. And
Yeah.
did same thing. Drove there, back. Like
Yeah.
it's a sad drive home. A real
Uh,
real sad drive home. Uh but what else? Oh, let me ask you a question. Can we do some like home improvement talk?
let's do it except for home improvement talk. Yeah.
Or did you have more St. Louis?
Ron from the club. No. Oh, I did have no, I just wrote this down, but this is unrelated. Someone was doing a job interview. I was eating breakfast at the hotel, and there was someone doing a job interview in the hotel, like in the and it was just depressing and sad. And I don't know if you ever had that where you're like watching someone, like you're eavesdropping on someone just eating a dick at a job interview, like at a Starbucks or something.
Yeah.
And it's
What's
just like, oh,
don't you think you would be maybe it's this overconfidence I have now, but I think I would be so good at job interviews. I was thinking about this because the Kamala Harris picked her vice president, and they were talking about it for a long time, and she actually brought in these guys. I think she interviewed like 3 or 4 of them one-on-one.
okay.
And the guy she picked, this Tim Walz,
Yeah.
there's reporting came out that she just clicked with him better, than the other guys.
Yeah.
And that the other ones, one of them, the Josh Shapiro, who everyone thought it was going to be, it came out he was asking like questions about like, well, what would my role be and all this stuff, and she didn't. Maybe he was angling to be president or want more responsibilities than normally given or
Yeah.
something. And I was like, man, if I ever I would be Tim Wall. Like I would nail an interview, I think, to be vice president. You'd be like, oh yeah,
You
whatever
think,
you need, I got your
yeah.
back. you want me to go to Alaska? I'm going to Alaska. You know what I mean? Like, how hard is it? You just tell them what they want to hear.
You just got to be likable and agreeable, right?
Yeah. All this, oh, well, if I think like people think that they've been taught, like actually you look cooler if you make demands, like if you're interviewing
Yeah.
for some high profile job, you go, well, what do you know, why do you think I should want to work here? Like you try to turn the tables on them, you look more confident.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's right. I think you should just be like, yeah, you can be confident, be assured of yourself. Be, yeah, whatever you need. I got you. Yeah, I can come in Saturdays sometimes. Whatever. It's not a big deal. Then you don't actually have to do it once you get the job.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just
Because
in the
then, yeah,
interview. I just think I'd
because
be
once you
really
have the
good.
job, it's hard for them to fire you and rehire. And they're just like, fuck it, whatever.
I haven't had that many job interviews, but I do think I've gotten every job I've interviewed for. They're
Ah,
not,
that's
none
nice.
of them are impressive jobs, but I think I'm batting 1,000.
I think there's some waiter jobs I didn't get in LA the first
Oh,
time, like in
that's,
2000.
I immediately, you immediately contradicted me because I absolutely applied to be a waiter at the barbecue restaurant at the Grove in
And
LA
didn't get it.
and didn't get it because I was lying through my teeth about having experience and all this stuff.
Oh.
And I think they figured out I had no idea what I was talking about.
They just ask you one question that any waiter would
Well,
know.
my friend Maria Shahada just kept saying like just reference POS. Just say you're familiar with POS. And I was like, what is that? He's like, don't worry about it. Just keep saying you know what POS. So I just kept dropping POS. Yeah, well, the last place, we use POS and I'm pretty good with POS. Do you know
That's
about
so
POS?
funny. Oh, I'm a huge POS.
I love POS. Sometimes I do POS at home.
Yeah.
POS and myself all night.
One time my friend dared me to pick up a POS.
Yeah.
It was a dog POS, and I did. I told you the story about that job that I showed up for that I thought I had gotten, and they were like, "We didn't hire you." It was like at the company that my brother worked at, and he was like, "Yeah, you got a job." And and all the girls that like worked with my brother were like, "Hey, just tell your brother, just all he has to do is if they ask you if he knows how to do Microsoft Office, just say he knows how to do it." And
Yeah.
they asked me, and I was like, "Well, I don't really understand Excel, but I'm a pretty fast learner." And I didn't get the job. And then I showed up for work on Monday, and it was very uncomfortable.
How did you get so first of all, I love that you said I'm a pretty fast learner when they literally told you just say you know how to do Microsoft Office and you did not learn to say
I
that.
just,
You
I was
already
so scared of getting busted. I didn't want to be like, yeah, I know it all. Oh, okay. And I thought they were gonna be like, well, here's a test. We're gonna watch you take it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but that is one of the again, that comes with getting older because then you realize even if there was a test, then you just fail it and you go, you
Yeah,
got me. Who gives a
exactly.
shit?
Busted.
Either way, I'm
Fuck
not
you,
gonna get the
people.
job. So you might as well lie up until the point that you could get the job. I mean, what's the point of being honest? That
Yeah, I guess I didn't want that uncomfortable
yeah, no,
moment.
I know. So that's the young person in you.
Yeah, the ignorant.
Yeah, it's
Ugh.
almost like I love being a comedian and I'm very proud of it that I can do it for a living. But
Yeah.
there is part of me that goes, man, if I had to go out there right now and go get a job, it'd be like an interesting challenge. Like during COVID,
Yeah.
I did lawn, landscaping.
Yeah.
Nailed
You're
that
not job
interview.
interviewing for that, right?
Well, I think I had like an audition. I did. Remember it was the one where he was like, "Have you ever laid sod before?" And again, I lied and said,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, it's been a long time." So and then he goes, "Okay, good. You'll be our lead for
Yeah,
this because
you'll be our go-to guy.
we've
Can you
never done it
teach us?
before." Yeah. So then we're all standing around watching a YouTube video on how to lay sod. These are the most embarrassing. Think of the people who hired us if they had a camera on that scene right there of just us in this crazy old toothless Joe's driveway watching a YouTube.
That's funny.
Turns out very easy to lay sod. No one should pay anyone to lay sod for them. It's very, very easy.
You just roll it out.
Roll it out and don't let the lines, you know what I mean? You want to stagger it so that, like, because each piece is the same length, but don't start,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you don't want
Yep.
you want it to grow in.
Yeah, it's
And
kind of like the flooring slats upstairs. You don't want them all to have a crack going through the whole thing. You want to like space it
yeah,
out.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you need to know about anything.
So what were you, home appliance
Oh
talk, or what were
yeah.
you
Okay.
there to-
So we've got this thing where on the side of the house, there's like clearly some like water, like on the shingles up against where our bathroom is on the exterior of the house, on the outside of the shower, where the shower is on. There's like, you can see like a little bit of water damage and like bubbling on the paint, and the wood seems a little softer. So there's some sort of leak happening behind the shower. But like,
Okay.
who who do you call? Is that just the plumber, or is that like a siding person? Because like, my worry is that if I call the wrong person, they're going to charge me a bunch of money to then tell me call the other person.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I would say, oh, that's like a handyman. You have a handyman,
Handyman.
you know. But if that wasn't an option, I guess I would go plumber first, assuming he would
There's
just
a
break
leak.
up the wall to solve it, and then he'd be like, "You're gonna have to call a wall guy to fix up,
Yeah.
the shit I
My worry
broke
is
up."
that it's like, it's just simple as like the caulking on the tub needs to be redone or something. Like it's, but maybe that's, the plumber would
Yeah,
probably be able to tell me that. So
yeah,
I really hope he doesn't have to fucking break up the wall.
yeah. Man, those. That's the thing. If I had to start over and I wasn't a comedian, I'd get a job in the trades. Learn how to do
No, you
so I'd be
wouldn't.
valuable on a plane
Would you
crash.
stop it? Are you out of your mind?
You're right. I wouldn't, but like on paper, that's what I should do. That's what I meant to say.
No, absolutely not.
No, you can make a lot of money doing that, right?
One
If you're like an
can,
electrician or what?
one can.
One can.
I don't think
Johnny
you could.
Well, this goes back. Yes, that's true. But this goes back to me, like my theory of if the world was full of me's, plumbing would never get invented.
Right. And jobs, I think you would, like, this is the feeling I remember from doing construction, is sometimes you walk up to a job and they start describing it, and you're looking at what an absolute mess or what it is, and you're like, I just want to walk away. I just have to leave. And if I were the contractor, like, with the power of saying yes or no, I just go, we're out. Nope, no thank you. That looks like way too much work. So I don't know who you're gonna get, but it's not gonna be us. We're not doing that. You know what I mean? And I think that would be a lot of you as a plumber. Oh, no. This is all wet.
Yeah. A lot of water.
A lot of water on this job. I like it when it's nice
Yeah.
and fixed up already.
Yeah, I like it when like you're turning the knob the wrong way, and I know it's righty tighty, and you don't. I'll do the jobs like that.
That would be a great job, because I was talking to, like, my buddy Jason was an electrician for a while, and they go, like they get called out all the time, and then half the time it's because, in those GFI outlets, if you don't hit that little button to reset it, they charge them like $200 just to come and for the guy to push that button. These sweet little old ladies don't know any better.
Yeah.
And men, it's not a sexist thing, but that would be a great job, is if you're like, look, you electricians, you guys are busy. Let me just go out. Every time you get called about a dead outlet, I'll just be the guy who goes out and I'll push the thing.
Yeah.
And if it isn't it, Then I'll just go back into the truck and call one of you guys, and then you come out and do the rest.
Yeah.
And then I'll just go take the next call. But it saves you the time of doing the trip, and
Yeah.
I can push the button. You just pay me
Yeah.
like, $40 an hour, and I'll drive around pushing buttons. That would be a
Or
good job.
or instead of working for a company and having them take a cut, and giving you an hourly, you go freelance. I
Oh,
would
there
be a
you go.
freelance guy. And then just my commercial would be, are you a fucking moron? Call me. Cause I am too, but
Right.
not as much as you. Like I know a little bit more than you.
You just
And if
go,
I can't get the job done, I'll call someone else for you. I guarantee it.
right. So if it literally isn't just hitting that button, then you're like, I'm gonna have to refer you to an electrician. You just call Johnny Beaner electric guy. I'm not technically a licensed electrician. So I'm gonna have to refer you to someone.
Electric guy.
Johnny Beaner, the
Are you
electric guy.
licensed? It doesn't. It says nowhere in my head that I'm licensed. I'm an electric guy.
I'm an electric guy. I was referring to my personality.
Yes.
In no way
I
that
hit
I
the
infer
reset button. It didn't work. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to turn
calling
this job down.
calling the big guns.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yeah,
All
that's the way
right.
to do it. You get
Uh
into topics?
topics, my friend. Who wants to go
Yeah.
first? You want to
Uh,
I can go first.
I can go first.
You want to
You
go
can go
first?
first. You go first.
I'll go first. Okay.
I don't care.
Who cares? Who gives a shit?
I think that's the favorite part of people's show is when we go back and forth on who's going to go first.
Yeah, I know. We should just have a
It's
system.
like, oh, I love it when they flirt. I like it when they flirt.
Yeah, the will they, won't they? We should do a coin flip at the beginning of every, like, make it a big deal.
Yeah.
We should sing the national
All
anthem
right.
before our podcast.
Oh, we should. We should open every show with a full recording
Oh,
of the.
say. That's all I remember.
Oh, well,
Okay.
yeah. We'll just have you sing it.
Yeah, I can sing.
Okay. I can't.
Oh, so do you give to charity, Johnny? Do you ever give to charity?
No.
Okay.
Do you? Do you give to charity? Do I give to charity? I don't even tip well.
It's funny. You looked up. You really searched for it. Huh. No. Tell me about it. Charity?
Never even thought about it.
What is that?
Why? Do you?
No, of course not. But what I mean to say about it is no, sometimes you do. Sometimes everybody gives a charity. Sometimes. I don't have one that I'm like a monthly donation to anything. But
No, I give to the Ronald McDonald House. That's what I do.
you do. That's a charity.
I mean, well, yeah, with the little box next to the register when you get coins back, I'll put the dollars in my wallet and then the coins I'll just put in there because I don't want to lose them or have them jingling around.
It sounds like you've basically built a hospital. But what I mean to say about it is that's exactly my point. Is that there's this phrase called weaponized ignorance, and they accuse husbands of this all the time, where we pretend to not know how to load the dishwasher right or clean, change a diaper. Like, oh, it's so complicated. Oh, you just do it so good. Why don't you?
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm guilty of that, by the way. I think I'm pretty good at, and I at least try my hardest at everything. However,
Yeah.
I think the government is guilty of the weaponized ignorance, and we defer too much to charities. So like every time there's a hurricane, what's the big thing? Hey, donate to the Red Cross. The Red Cross. Hey, you got to donate to the Red. What? Why? There's hurricanes every year. We pay taxes. Shouldn't you be? That's who should be. There's insurance companies. Like, why is there this in the charities? That shouldn't be in a charitable domain. You know what I'm saying?
Who is telling us to donate to Red Cross? The government?
Football commercials. I don't know. Every time in September, they're about to have football games. There's going to be a horrible hurricane that's going to wipe out Florida or New Orleans or whatever. And then I'm going to see a bunch of commercials on during football games about how we have to donate to the Red Cross to save. And it's like this happens every year. It's not like, your buddy Craig got his motorcycle stolen and then we have to do a GoFundMe for him. Every year it should be and it's the same. The Ronald McDonald House, great example. That's a cool charity where they put up families who have.
Yep.
But again, that seems like something that should kind of be already covered in the realm of healthcare and insurance and government, you know what I'm saying? Taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think
I agree.
Charities are good. It's good.
Yep.
Most of the time. But I think we're too reliant on charities to do like the basic functions of society. Whereas I would rather just pay more taxes and have less like charities around.
I totally agree. And I think it's like, it makes me think like, it's like, well, I guess like snow plows. Like you're going to get dumped on snow.
Yes.
Your tax dollars are paying for them to plow the streets.
Yes.
And salt them. Every year you can count on tsunamis.
I don't have to. Yeah. I don't have to give Wisconsin a bunch of money every winter. Like, oh, we got 8 inches of snow and no one to drive the plows. No, they figured they've added that into their whole economic system. They're like, that's going to happen. We got to hire guys to do this. You know what I mean?
So you think the government is just kind of keeping their mouth shut and being like,
I think that's what happens is the hurricane hits and they go, we don't really know how to do this kind of stuff. Red Cross, you're just so good at it. You're just so amazing. Red Cross, you do it. We don't really know. That's what I think's happening.
And the government should pay Red Cross. Be like, all
maybe
right,
they do. Maybe they do pay. I don't know. Who is the Red Cross? How does it work?
I don't know. I thought they do blood.
It's the Red Cross.
Isn't that like where you donate blood?
Right. Yeah, they do blood.
Are you thinking of what?
Aren't you the blood? Aren't you the blood guys? Yeah, that's another one. Donating blood. Anytime something happens, you got to donate blood.
Yeah,
that's that I get because you can't just make blood. Where's that coming from? If I'm not donating it, that I can't get upset about.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want the government holding on to my blood either.
No. Yeah. I don't think that's bad for me, but I cannot remember donating blood before, even after 9/11 when everybody was really supposed to donate blood.
Yeah. I used to donate blood in college just to be a good person, but I think after
the cookie.
For the cookie, because you don't get paid for it.
You get paid for plasma.
Yeah.
And
that takes longer.
Yeah.
And semen. You know what? Have you ever
shorter.
Did we talk about did you ever try to
I tried. I remember I got rejected.
Yeah, me too.
Because I was honest. I said my uncle is schizophrenic. And I think that's what did me in.
It's so funny. I was talking to my buddy. Who?
I said I should have lied. Like, what was I telling the truth for? Worst case, they catch me, and then they don't, you know what I'm saying?
And they don't pay you for your sploogers.
I know.
But I was talking to a buddy here in Wisconsin about it. He had, I don't know if, it was for his vasectomy, where you have to like give a sample before and then, after whatever, so they can test it and make sure. And he just had his observation about the room they send you into where it has magazines and like this shitty VCR, but it also had Brett Favre posters all over on the walls.
Yeah.
It's like Wisconsin stuff.
It's like what a gay guy or a woman's idea of what gets a straight man going, Like, no, he needs to be like football, the virile, Brett Favre.
Yeah.
That'll give him a boner.
That'll give him a boner. Yeah.
I remember the same thing. The room is very depressed. Like it's like bad lighting, like fluorescent lights. Like if that's the only thing this room is for, like it doesn't have to be so clinical, you know. And also, like, who are we kidding with the magazines and the VCRs?
Yeah.
You know, we've basically
Yeah.
employed a society where we expect everyone to have a smartphone at this point.
Right.
So you can retire these disgusting magazines, I would say.
Yeah. I just remember just being like, I don't want to touch anything in here at all. You
Yeah.
know?
The
Uh,
so you did you get a vasectomy?
oh yeah.
And
In
so
LA.
you had to do this where you gave a specimen before and
Yeah.
after?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
But I also did went to some, I don't know, just to try to make money. I was doing fucking Postmates, Uber, Lyft, and I was like, oh, this just sucks. I'd rather just whack off and have them give me money. And so I went to one of those cryo banks where they're like, oh, and you know, they're like, nah, your spooge is all shitty.
Yeah. So what you didn't even need a vasectomy. You should have told him like, hey, I got 3 kids.
Well, I make babies. I just can't make,
Good ones.
presidential all-star football
Yeah.
player babies.
That would be funny if like you were still doing Uber Eats and you're like so I had a long day today. I had to do Uber Eats, then Postmates, then I jacked off, and then I did a few more deliveries. I had to go donate some sperm. Then I brought the Thai food to the Johnson's house, and then I went home.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm on
Picked up
Postmates
a,
right now.
picked up a couple passengers for Uber
I,
Pool.
I grabbed, I grabbed, I grabbed the subs, but I gotta jump into the cryo bank here, rub one out. But I'll be right over. So if it's a little long, that's why. But I got your
Yeah,
food. Don't worry.
I got it. Oh, I fucking hated that. I hated that. You do Postmates and you don't make a delivery and they pay you nothing, but you don't find out until after you're gone. And I'm just like, that is some balls. Every driver that you're stiffing has your address. You fucking
I never
asshole.
did the delivery ones. I'll tell you, I did a
Ugh.
little bit of Lyft and in LA. I did not hate it.
Yeah.
If I had a
I
better
didn't
car,
either.
I wouldn't. I always tell these young comics because like they've really like demonized the gig economy, like for good reason. Like there's no benefits and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But like for comedians, when you don't want commitment to jobs and you want to be able to take 3 weeks off to go on the road and come back and still
Yep.
have your little day job, Uber and Lyft, I would have killed for that when I was starting out. Because like
Yeah.
otherwise you got to work at Best Buy, and then the second you get any
Yep.
road work, you just got to quit, and then you got to start all over again and apply it at some other stupid place
I
once you get
know.
back.
Yeah.
All right, what do you need
Ugh.
backup on, Johnny?
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Good call. So do you have satellite radio? Sirius XM?
I should, but I do not. I
Okay,
say
so
I
you should.
should because I should be supporting them, but I don't.
No, it's they're doing fine. Anyway, so they have channels like they'll have the Billy Joel channel or they
Right.
have the Pearl Jam channel, the Tom Petty channel. John Mayer has one, U2, Kelly Clarkson. So, and I think it's great. And sometimes they're limited time and then they switch, whatever. Here's the thing. If you're Sirius satellite radio and you have the Kelly Clarkson channel, just you can only play Kelly Clarkson music. Because what they do is the Kelly Clarkson hosting, and so
Oh,
they're like,
oh
oh,
yeah, yeah.
this song, my dad, when my dad died, I was holding his hand, and we used to always go to Blink 182 concerts. So here's Blink 182. Like, I don't give a shit who inspired you. I don't
Right.
care who you like. I put on the Pearl Jam channel
Yes.
because I want to hear fucking Pearl Jam, not
Right.
who you listened to when you were growing up.
It's like, welcome to the Bruce Springsteen channel. I was on tour in China back in 1996, and I heard this great mandolin player. So here's here's an hour of mandolin. on the
Yeah.
boost.
It's like, what the fuck?
Boost.
I don't. Boo.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is great. I did not know that they did this, but that makes
Yeah.
sense. And you could see it's kind of like how if you go on like I have Apple Music, and if you go to like, if you went to John Mayer, after the
Yeah.
first two songs might be John Mayer, but then eventually they're going to start like shuffling in things that
Yeah.
you think you would like based on
Yep.
John Mayer.
They'll be like, here's Counting Crows and similar artists. They'll play a few
Yeah,
Counting Crows,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
it's,
yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
all of a sudden here's Dave Matthews or whatever.
No, and like, yeah, I mean, then just call that station, the pop hits from the whatever, like
Yeah.
because they have those too. They have like the seems like satellite radio. See, that was a good thing about regular radio is like there was only so many stations. You're
Yep.
limited by the bandwidth. Like, you have from 88.5 or whatever to
Yeah.
107.7,
Yeah.
and that's it. So you can only exist within that bandwidth. Whereas with this satellite radio, what are they up to, like 80,000 channels?
No, well, this is you bring up an interesting point. That's what I thought. Like, well, they have channel 2 all the way up to 204 or something. Sometimes I'll put on the comedy channel and it'll just be a recording over and over and over saying, due to a sports event, this channel is unavailable right now. You can listen to it online, but and then like if there's
Oh,
sports
so there
events,
is
they'll just
limits.
block off channel. Yeah, I guess there is a limited bandwidth
Oh.
because they always cut out a few comedy channels and just put this recording saying, yeah, it's not on the air because of a sports event.
This is going to shock some people, but turns out I don't know how satellites work. I was kind of going off half cocked there about the differences between satellite radio and terrestrial radio, and I was not well informed. This is like a first. I don't know what's really
Well, how
saying.
would you know? I didn't. I mean, that makes sense to me.
That's interesting. So we're getting screwed every time there's like a big football game or something. We're getting fucked out of
Well,
royalties.
I think I think it's just the satellite device. Like it's because they say you can still listen to it streaming on the internet. So I think the channel's still existing and playing. It's just
Oh,
that on mobile devices that are literally
and we get
satellite
paid the
and
same.
internet based. I don't know.
Why don't we make
It
a
would,
call?
yeah. Let's do it.
I'm with you. Yeah, that would be very annoying to turn into Katy Perry's channel and
Yeah.
not hear Katy Perry.
Yeah. You want to hear firework?
Fireworks. You know what's
No.
funny is so Kamala Harris, she's been
Yes.
having these rallies ever since she's kind of taken over, and she uses the Beyonce song "Freedom."
Yeah. Yeah.
Freedom, freedom, and it's great. You're like, oh
Yeah.
god, she's good at, you know what I mean?
Her ads
And
get you pumped up.
and Heidi reminded me like, oh, it reminds me because Obama used to have that Stevie Wonder song play every time. I forget which one it was, but it's if
Huh.
you heard it, he comes out and it's the same song and you associate them with the song and it's like so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And Hillary had that "This Is My Fight" song. Da, 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 da,
Oh, was
da.
that her
That
song?
was her, and I remember that because I watched all those
Rachel Platten.
and
Yeah.
that song's forever ruined because she lost the election. So like, if Kamala loses, I don't think I'll be able to listen to that Beyonce song anymore because I'll be like, oh no, that
Yeah.
gives me the creeps. But then
Yeah.
that's when it hit me like, I mean, Biden was old and everything, but what was the Biden song? Did he have a song? Was he just? Do you remember? Do you associate any song? I just named like three people in my head, and I know what their song was. I have no idea what the Biden song was.
I don't know. Wasn't it like was it the theme song that comes on at the end of the Incredible Hulk TV show when he's hitchhiking away? Is that what it was? That's what he would come out to.
It's just
I don't know.
old like silent film Charlie Chaplin music.
Yeah.
Someone
Piano
playing
music. Yeah. Oh,
that.
speaking of which, Aaron tried to go to Kamala and
Eau
Tim
Claire.
Walz was at the Eau Claire today,
Yeah.
and she filled out a Google form from the Democratic Party, whatever, a few days ago about it. She got an email early this morning that was like, to ensure you get your reserve spot around at table 2, whatever, just arrive before noon. And so she was like, the morning of, she was like, hey, I'm gonna take Edie and we're gonna go. And I was like, all
Oh,
right.
cool.
Like, I don't know if I should. They get there at 11:30, and they're turning people away.
Wow.
So they drove 3 hours there,
Ugh.
got turned away, and then just drove home. So that
Well, you
was
know what?
frustrating.
I bet they'll come to Madison and do like a bigger venue, because
Yeah,
they're gonna have to campaign in Wisconsin a lot. So that's why
yeah.
Heidi told me, she's like, yeah, when they come to Oregon, we should go. I'm like, if they come to Oregon, they should fire their research. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're worried about Oregon, then this is not gonna go well.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to Oregon.
Yeah. Like the only reason why she'll go to like California or something to raise money, but there's like no money here, so I don't think she's coming to Oregon. All right, good app.
All right.
We gotta get to post show banner because I got some hot goss.
I gotta hear about it, and I have one thing I want to talk to you about in post show banner.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Patreon subscribers, of course, you get the post show banner. If you're interested, you can sign up on the Patreon. Where are you gonna be, Johnny?
Oh, good
Johnny
question.
Beans?
Do you have your calendar handy dandy?
I'm still gonna plug here in Portland, the Soho House on August 6th. So this Friday, when this comes out, it'll be this Friday, August 16th, here in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Soho House.
September 7th is a Saturday, and that I'll be at Vibe Stock, which is it's in Dodgeville, Wisconsin. It's some sort of, I think it's like a festival about tattoos and piercings. Anyway,
They got the right comic.
Check it out on my website.
They got the guy with no, to my wait, do you have
I have Ace Ventura backwards on my,
I have no
piercings.
Of course. How can
I got a fucked up tattoo on my back.
You got the perfect guy. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening too.
The Cavalry.